Thank you, Nick, for this nice reminder of a long-term relationship. I met Philippe also a long time ago, and I always enjoyed interacting with him. I enjoy his proximity. Today, I realize the quantity and quality of reflection that has been triggered by the Aguillon-Whitney seminal paper. I'm not a specialist of innovation, but I was interested in climate policy since the beginning of the century, of the 21st century. I wrote a report to the French Prime Minister in 2003. I co-edited a book on the design of climate policy in 2008 at MIT Press. Picture you find on the right-hand side of the picture. I also wrote a number of research articles on discount rate. And I was involved in a number of books. Some, as you can see from the picture on the rest, with old friends. As we know, along the line of the Paris Agreement, the objective of the present international climate policy is to have a zero net emission of greenhouse gases in the middle of the 21st century. Fully decarbonated technology should be substituted to all present carbonated technology in all sectors. In France, this means the transport, it accounts for 38% of carbon emission, housing for 20%, industry for 20%, energy production for 18% are concerned, and remaining emissions should be captured. Innovation is central to the achievement of such an objective. And then, in a sense, there is no past situation where innovation has been given such a central expected role for the solution of a problem. The issue, more generally the question of innovation of environment, has been discussed in several research papers connected with the Aguillon-Whitney line. My remark here will mainly refer to chapter 8 of the general audience book written by Philippe, Céline Antonin, and Simon Buñuel, whose English title is The Power of Creative Destruction. Chapter 9 is Green Innovation and Sustainable Growth. Innovation is not spontaneously green. Those who have in the past innovated on polluting strategy will prefer to continue along the same line. Hence, providing appropriate incentive to the actors is a decisive priority for economic policy. Putting a cap price on carbon is a standard solution and a key driver for the adoption of environmentally friendly technologies. I will not discuss the relative merits of carbon taxes or emission trading schemes, classical subject. I will only remind that the policy-generated prices indeed provide incentive for reducing carbon emission and encouraging green innovation. Let me evoke a long-term contract for renewable energy targets. The idea is to offer cost-based compensation, providing price certainty on long-term contracts that help finance renewable energy investment. But it should be clear concerning the carbon prices that in the present state, price signals are too low to trigger appropriate research and development. And the societal expectation on future signals are still further away from what will be desirable. I refer to existing studies that are probably extreme. It suggests, for example, that the optimal policy in France should be sustained by an increasing sequence of shadow price of carbon going from 55 euro now to 250 euro in 2030, 500 euro in 2040. It's a euro per ton of carbon dioxide, naturally. The same way, feed-in tariff for renewable energy are insufficient for developing next generation of low carbon technologies. followed that subsidy to green innovation, public funding of R&D are essential to meet long-term emission targets. The innovation prospects should be assessed in parallel with the policy mix that will be implemented. There are a lot of interaction between these two aspects of the problem. Just 2 or 3 remarks. The mobilization of intermediate energy sources, like the shale gas, for example, is short-term effective, but may trap innovation in these energies. The reluctance of a number of countries to engage in vigorous climate policies is understandable for developing countries. This suggests that it would be good to help developing countries by transferring green technology. However, it's essential in the absence of a world cooperation to avoid the development of polluting paradigms. It will be located in non-cooperative countries. It will trigger the displacement of polluting industry and possibly the non-green innovation. For that, I will to combat this, I will only evoke the possibility of border carbon tax. That's just not a difficult question. Some final remarks. As argued in Aguillon-Antonin Bunel's book, ecological pressure coming from the civil society provides an increasing support for climate policy. Just a final word to say that another facet of my interest is expectational coordination. The purpose is to understand the quality of expectational coordination according to the situation. Is it a dimension of analysis of creative discussion? I hope so. It will be a future dimension of analysis of creative discussion if it has not been done. Thank you very much.